Hey, what's up, everybody? I hope you're doing great as always. Today, I wanted to just quickly go over a spreadsheet about what you can do to track your energy and how you can predict your utility consumption and hopefully estimate your cost so that there's nothing that's unpredictable. And in addition to that, I will show you what you can do to track your heating days, your cooling days, and just build a much better picture as to what's going on within your department and inside the building. And again, your goal as the facility manager or chief engineer is to provide really straightforward, easy to understand data that people can take and make sense of very quickly, right? Without going into the BTUs and the decatherms and the kilowatt hours and how to read a meter and all these other things. It's how to take something really complex, complicated, simplify it so that everybody can understand and you understand why it's happening. So let's hop right into it. Right, so don't be overwhelmed by this. It's a lot simpler than it looks. I will show you this. Here's some historical data, and this all is compiled from another sheet. But what's really great is this was based on a hotel, and I can tell you that this will break down the total MMBTUs were used by the entire boiler system, and then broken down into the BTUs per occupied room. As you keep going, this is the more information that we talked about. How can you take the information and translate it over into something that's simple, and then what can you establish in terms of KPIs, so key performance indicators and metrics that will allow you to help get an understanding as to your utility cost consumption, and then what can you do to start reducing those costs, right? And identifying if there's a systemic issue, and then perhaps there's an opportunity for an upgrade that will help you cut these costs even further. So if it's improving efficiency in something, reducing inefficiency in others, so on and so forth. So it'll break it down to your BTUs per square foot, BTU per degree days, so that you'll know the temperature and BTU correlation. The next page I have down here is what you're going to start doing from a statistical standpoint. This also adds your consumption from electricity, your gas, and water. And so here you can see how many rooms were occupied, what they consider covers. Covers are generally at restaurants. Cooling days, so this was obviously done in January. It was a cold climate, and I will tell you that there were clearly 0 cooling days, right? We didn't have to supply cooling due to the temperature. We were able to take advantage of the cooling towers and the flat plate heat exchanger so that the chillers were able to stay off. Heating degree days, there was a snow melt system on property, which we had to deduct out of this spreadsheet. And then this is where that other information gets populated. Additionally, you can go in here and say, hey, what are our kilowatt hours minus roof melt? And for those of you who are not familiar with colder climates, they have heat tape, which goes on the edge of the roof. Depending on the location, there's a specific spacing and length that will go up the eave of the roof to provide a path for water to travel down through the gutter, through the downspout, so that you don't have any ice dams, or at least reduce the amount of ice dams that are built up on that building. And then it goes into just general gas consumption. And then you'll see right here the domestic water use. At the bottom, it's just simple. It's just a month by month, and I'm happy to share this with anybody that would like it. But it will show you month, how many rooms. So there's a lot of different ways you can take this. This again was a hotel example, but you are welcome to swap these things out, and in place you can put something different. Covers, degree days, and as you go in there, you start taking these simply, right? And it's something that goes on a cadence that you can start to track them on a month meter read date. So here it'll tell you how many days are in that month. Again, very straightforward, and you can see what kind of information this lends itself towards and the benefits of doing it. As you keep going down, these are all divided and divisible amongst almost anything you want. Square foot, people on property. You could even deduce or deduct the amount of people versus staff, right? So you can figure out what your staff load is, how much each person consumes. And so what's the advantage? What's the point of taking all this information, and what are you going to do with it? Well, several different things. Not only are you able to verify that what you're being billed for is accurate, you're able to forecast future costs, you're able to forecast future facility needs. So in the event you expand, right, you can then multiply this by a factor. If you sublet out portions of the building, you know what pro rata share should be responsible for other individuals. If you designate some areas as, let's say, a common area, you then can divide that up again and divide that and make that another pro rata share. There's so many different things. It's almost endless once you have this information and you know that it's accurate, and it's something that really proves to be very, very useful from a financial aspect. It can also prevent problems. So if you're going down there and you know after month 4 what your historical electrical consumption is and what it should be, and you see something that just doesn't look right, you'll then know that there's a problem, right? So if your water use just goes through the roof and you're thinking, oh, what's happening, right? And you caught it early, and there's perhaps an underground main that's broken or leaking that you're not really able to see because it's the winter time. Well, now you're able to identify this, and you can start saying, hey, we're losing a lot of water. This is very atypical for what's happening this time of year. We need to investigate further, right? So you can really get ahead on things and not just be caught kind of with your hands down at the end of the month when the bill comes in saying you've used 75 million gallons of water or whatever, and you go, hey, I caught this early, right? Or that's not possible, right? So you can really set yourself up for success. Off to the right here, these are just the inputs, right? Where you're going to go through whatever meters you have. You're going to start taking these meter reads. Pretty straightforward. Gas meter, water meter. These are some additional meters that were dedicated. BTU meters, flow meters. Meters in general can be really useful, and if your property or properties don't have them, that's also something that you can look at installing. So it's not common to have a lot of sub-meters on things, but it's absolutely something that's possible to do. Sub-meters in terms of electrical, gas, or water. You can install these on virtually anything, and may be a great idea if you wanted to know the specific consumption of a specific area. So if you're wondering, what do your boilers consume, your chillers consume, what does your domestic hot water, how many gallons do you use per day, if you really wanted to get on the granular level for bigger properties, this is a great opportunity for you to present this as a capital expenditure that you want to retrofit some of your existing equipment so that you can now read a little bit further into them. So that, in a nutshell, is pretty much all there is to it. You start to record this on a monthly basis. You go for an annual period of time. You have a spreadsheet similar to this. And again, if it's something you'd like, just send me a message. I'm happy to kick it over your way. It then kind of kicks itself over to the statistic column. From there, you can look at everything going, all right, this is populated based off of that. And then it goes over to the summary, where you can look at all of this information. And again, you can take the summary of things. You can summarize the number of rooms, the number of square feet, the number of guests, the number of whatever it is that you want to track. You can divide that into the BTUs, the kilowatt hours, the gallons used, so on and so forth, so that it will help you forecast those items that we talked about. I really could go on and on about all the advantages and benefits of tracking this, but I think the point I'm trying to get across is if you're not tracking this, it's something you should absolutely start tracking so that you can get a really good handle on what the cost for your properties are for all of those other reasons. Again, expansion, efficiency, if you need it, if it's worthwhile. You can start looking at so many different things, right? You can start to identify, what does it cost us currently to operate our boilers? What would the ROI be in the event we were to upgrade to a higher efficiency boiler, chiller, heat exchanger, pump systems, if you wanted to do variable speed pumps, if you wanted to do different controls, if you upgraded your building automation system, et cetera, on every single one of these aspects. So electrical, gas, and water, right? Your main utilities. and what can you do to start reducing those. But then again, what would your ROI be? And here's the information you have, right? You can calculate this so quickly. You can say, oh, we're going to save X percent, and show it to me. So these sheets allow you to do just that. I don't want to make this thing go on and on and on, but I hope you understand the point. I hope you see the value. If you have any more questions on this or would like this sheet again, just send me a message, but please make sure you like this, share it with others, because it's so important to get a grasp on utility costs, and it's so helpful to understand in so many different levels. And please like, subscribe, share, and I hope you have a great day. I hope you have a great rest of 2021, and I look forward to seeing you soon, and happy holidays.